because it was just
Good morning,
Yeah.
people.
deciding what it wants to do.
I just landed in
Just gonna let it run. Let it go. Welcome, if you're new or if you know, this is hashtag
Just saying the
Sayin.
podcast.
Let's get it all out on the table now. You can watch the first 40 here on the YouTubes. Give your ears a treat by listening to the full show where you stream your stuff.
Yes.
Do not derail me.
Sorry.
You can watch the pre-show banter as well as Trivia Tuesdays, hopefully on Tuesdays,
Yes.
on TikTok at hashtag just saying you spell it all out
Give us a heart.
and give a heart. Give a hoot. Don't pollute. I feel like this was a very long week. Anybody else have a long ass week?
Yes.
Same as always.
Same as always?
Same as.
Same amount of time?
That's right.
Okay. Kind of dragged.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What'd you do? How was your doctor's appointment on April Fool's Day?
Okay. We'll just dive right into this, right? I'm gonna tell you this story. I'm gonna keep it as clean as I possibly can.
Okay.
Well, it could in a certain company it could be a little gory, right? So I don't want to make anybody sick.
Okay.
So my first doctor's appointment was Monday.
You had two back to
I
back?
had back to back.
What the fuck?
Exactly. So
Ooh, someone's got a nice car coming. Someone's racing down the street in a Chevelle.
Now this doctor appointment was I had like this I don't know, we'll call it like a mole on my head. And I was like, this has gotta go. But it's been there it's been there for like 20 years. It's been there for like 20 years, right? I wasn't
Time to go.
Yeah, I wasn't like super worried about it. It was just I
And
mentioned
all of a
it.
sudden you are.
I mentioned it's my doctor, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd actually prefer if you had that removed." And I was like, "Oh, you prefer it?" And he's like, "Yeah, you never know." And I'm like, "But it's been there for a while." And he's like, "Yeah, just get it done."
It's a birthmark.
So no, it's done. So I go to this dermatologist, right? First of all, I have never seen so many people in a doctor's office. The waiting room was massive and it was packed.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, this is a very popular office.
That's Monday.
That kind of made me feel better because I was like, if this guy was shit, there'd only be like two people. It'd be me and one other person, and we'd both be miserable giving each other the eye. So I was just like, scrolling on my phone, just trying to like pass time. I got there. My appointment was for 2:30. I got there at 2:20. Okay. Did all their stupid paperwork, answered all the stupid questions.
I hate those.
3:00, they still hadn't called me back yet.
Damn.
And I'm like, I gotta go back to work. You guys are killing me here. It was my lunch break.
Yeah.
Right? So they finally call me back. And I go back, and the girl, first they give you the assistant, and she, they ask you all the questions,
They do all the work.
Are you allergic to anything?
Allergic to waiting.
Yeah, very much so. Do you do this? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. So I tell her all that stuff, and she's like, okay, well, he's going to be with you in a little while. And I'm like, in a little while?
I've been waiting for an hour.
So he comes in maybe like 5-10 minutes later.
Okay.
And he's like, why are you here? And I'm like,
see you.
And I'm like,
I already told the girl. Didn't she tell you?
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if this is how I want our day to start off.
Relay the message.
So I said, well, I have like this mole thing, and my doctor wants me to have it removed. And he goes,
yeah, it's fine.
And he goes, well, where is it? And I said, well, it's on my head. And I had a hat on. So he goes, you should just take the hat off. And I was like, should I? And he goes,
I wasn't going to see it.
Well,
I have X-ray vision.
It was because he was being flippant with me. Like, you should take your hat off. Oh, should I? Like Like you're an idiot.
It'll
And
help.
he goes, and it was my Saints hat, right? That I wear a lot because it's a very comfy hat.
Yeah.
So he goes, oh, and
Broken in.
he had an assistant with him, another assistant, and he goes,
To assist the assistant.
and he goes, oh, she'll like your hat because she spent. I don't know if he said she spent time in New Orleans or if she was from New Orleans, but he goes, oh, she'll like your hat because the New Orleans, and I said, oh, and then I said, well, I got the hat for free. I said I didn't pay for it.
I don't like the team. I just like the hat.
Yeah, I got the hat for free. I like the hat. And I said it's a comfy hat. And she goes, oh, well, free's good, I guess. And I was like, yeah, can this appointment be free? So I show him the thing, and he's like, okay. And he said, well, what are you looking to do? And I was like, seriously?
Just told you.
And I said, well, have it moved. And he goes, oh. And he said, well, we can do that. And I said, well, I would hope so. And he
That's
said,
why I'm here.
and he said, well, here's what that entails. So it's, in plainly speaking, he was going to hit it with a needle, numb it. No, hit it with a needle, numb it, and then just cut it off. Right.
Okay.
So I said, okay. Cut
up with a pair of scissors.
that sounds fine.
Razor blades.
And he goes, is that what you want to do? And I was like,
You're the doctor.
And I
Is that
said-
what needs to be done?
so I said, why do I feel like you're trying to talk me out of this?
Sounds like it.
And he goes, no, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. And I said, well, it feels like you are. And he goes, no, if you want to do it, that's fine. And then he goes, I don't think there's anything sinister about it.
Sinister.
And I said, and it occurred to me, I was like, I think I have cancer or something. So I said, listen, I'm not here because, I think something bad is occurring. I said, this goddamn thing's been here for like 20 years. I said, if it was cancer, I'd be dead by now. And he goes,
Not necessarily.
yeah. And he's like, well, probably. And I was like, yeah. And I said, so let's just, have it, take care of it.
Now, does health insurance cover this?
I have no idea. I think so. I hope so.
She'll find out soon.
So
Get a bill in the mail, Timmy.
yeah, I expect I expect the health insurance is going to be like, eh. So he goes, okay, well, now I have to tell you the risks. So he tells me all the risks.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah.
Side effects and shit.
Yeah, he goes, there's always a risk of infection, but I don't think you're going to have that big a problem. And then he goes, I want you to know that I have to send this to a pathologist so that they can, yeah.
What's
so
that?
Basically, they would biopsy it and make sure that it's not cancer or anything.
Oh, test it. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, I anticipate you doing so. And he goes, well, I just wanted you to know. He said, because they'll send you a letter in the mail. And he goes, I wouldn't want you to get worried. I said, I'm not worried about this at all. Right.
Okay.
So he goes, okay. So he gets his little tray ready and he comes over to me and he hits me with the needle and he's numbing it up. And he's like, can you feel that? Can you feel that? Like he's poking me with the thing and he's like, can you feel it? Can you feel it? I said, yup. And then on like the fourth or fifth one, I said, well, I can feel you hitting it, but I don't feel pain that you're hitting it.
Ah.
And he goes, there we go.
That means it's tingling. That means it's working.
I'm just sitting there going, Jesus, did this guy just graduate from dermatology school?
You're my first patient.
So he does what he has to do.
Okay.
And he gets it off. And then he goes, you're not going to need any stitches. And I said, fantastic. And,
So like a Band-Aid?
well, here's the thing. Here's where we get
Some gauze.
Here's where we get in trouble. Okay? Because it's always trouble. So he takes a few swipes, he gets it off, right? And now he takes some gauze and he's holding, because it's over here. So he's holding the side of my head. Right? And then he's
a
like,
shoulder to cry on.
and then he's sitting there and he's like, huh.
So he spotted something.
And I went, I don't like the sound of that.
Oh, this on your lunch break?
And he goes, and I see him. I'm not really looking at him, but he's right here. So I'm like, we good? And I see him like he's now grabbed a new set of gauze. And he's over here. And he goes, well, you're bleeding more than I want you to.
Stop that.
And I said, and without pause, I looked at him and I turned my head a little bit to look at him. And I said, and for that, sir, I can only apologize.
Sorry about that.
And he goes, well, it's fine. He said, I just wish you weren't bleeding this much. And I said, so
He's
what?
a professional.
And I said, so what can we do? And he goes, and he kind of sighs and he puts the gauze down and he gets up. Like, I've ruined this guy's day. He puts the gauze down, he gets up, he walks over to the cabinet and he's opening up the cabinet. Now I look over and there are two, we'll say like, 3-4 inch gauze pads.
Yeah.
Full of blood.
Oh,
and I was
Jesus.
like, oh.
I taste blood. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, you should. I feel a little lightheaded. You've lost a lot of blood.
You want a cookie?
So he gets out a Band-Aid,
Okay.
and he comes back over to me, and he's opening up the Band-Aid, and he looks at me, and he goes, I'm not confident this is going to stay on your head. And I said, I share your pessimism. Because he's going to have to stick it to my hair. And he goes...
He didn't shave it?
No, he goes...
I don't know.
He goes, well, I don't want to shave your head. I don't want to shave your head for the Band-Aid. And I said, we're not shaving my head for the Band-Aid. That's not happening.
Sinead O'Connor.
That's not happening at all. I am fairly confident that I could have done some sort of swoop and just and just covered the area, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
So he sticks it to my head and he goes, so keep this on as long as it'll stay. He goes, and hopefully you'll stop bleeding. And I said, oh, hopefully.
And that was Monday.
And he goes, oh, Monday's not even over yet, my friend. Monday's not even over yet. And then he goes, if you find it's still bleeding tomorrow, you may want to follow up with either your doctor or call us. And I'm like, okay. In my head, I was thinking,
Don't shower.
No, he told me I could shower. He's like,
Okay.
be gentle. I said, aren't I always?
Johnson, no more tears.
I said, we don't need to talk about me being gentle. So I said, that's fine. And so I go back home and I log back into work. I'm not at my desk for an hour before my cell phone rings. And it's my doctor's office.
How are you doing?
My doctor, not the dermatologist guy.
Okay.
This is the guy. This is the doctor I was supposed to see the next day. So
Confirming your appointment?
Well, I pick up.
We got a call. You okay?
Yeah. We heard you're bleeding quite a bit.
Call an
Can't
ambulance.
make it tomorrow. That's okay.
So the girl, he has an assistant, so I'm dealing with another assistant,
Damn.
right? So she goes, hi, this is, so-and-so from the doctor's office. And I said, hello. And she goes, how are you? And I said, I don't know. And she goes, why don't you know? And I said, because you're calling me. And it's never good when a doctor's office calls you. So she goes, well, I wanted to call you about your appointment tomorrow. And I said, what about it?
You still coming?
And she said, well, the doctor's going to have to cancel. And I said, why? But why?
He's got to go golfing.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Here's what's happening, okay? They have a brand new phone system at the office. She goes, he has to take training on the phone
For the phone.
to learn how to use the phone. And I listened to this and I said, what
Hello?
kind of phone do you have? And she goes, well, it's a new system. And I
AI.
she said, it's a new system. And I said, can I ask you a question? And she goes, absolutely. And I said, is he going to be answering the phones? I said, am I going to call his office and get him?
No.
And she goes, well, no, you'll deal with the normal secretary. And I said, so he's not going to be on the phone.
What's he training for?
This is my point, Joseph. Why does he need to train on a phone he's never gonna fucking use?
Right.
I said, and then I said, because I was in a mood because of my head. So I was like, okay, so is it new software across the board? Because he's always on his laptop. So I said, is it like he gonna need to learn the new laptop thing? And she goes, no, it's just phone training. I said, so it's not even for the thing that he uses. It's for a phone he's never gonna use.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah. And I was like, okay, so you're canceling my appointment so he can take IT training. I was like, this is like stupid. And she goes,
Son of a bitch.
so she's like, well, I'm really sorry. And I said,
Why can't you just do it after work?
sorry doesn't help me.
Stay late and do the training and then go home.
Sorry doesn't help me, Susan. So I said, okay, so, and here's my thinking was, well, I'm sure, because he's canceling people,
Reschedule.
like, so we're going to reschedule. And I assumed it would be like in a week or so. So I said, all right. She goes,
Next year.
she goes, do you want to reschedule? And I said, I have to, because I had a few issues I wanted to talk to him about. So I said, we need to have a conversation.
Aside from the bleeding head.
Yeah. Aside from showing him my, bleeding head. So she goes, okay. So I hear click, 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 click. And then she goes, the earliest he can see you is May 5th. I went, are you kidding me, Susan? May 5th?
A month away.
And she goes, yeah, that's the earliest I can get you in. And I said, I already have an appointment, a checkup on May 13th. I said, so what's the point of me coming in May 5th? And she goes, well, we can cancel the 13th and then you can just make your one appointment the 5th. And I said, well, yeah, I guess we'll do that. I said, but I have to tell you, I'm extremely irritated because now you're going to make me wait like 5 weeks. I was like, I kind of had something pressing. Time is
That's
of
an
the
emergency.
Time is of the essence as far as I'm concerned. So she's like, well, I'm sure he's sorry. And I said, I'm sure he isn't. I said, but I tell you something.
Tell him to call me and say you're sorry.
Yeah, I know. So after he learns the phones, he can call me. I was like, okay. And I said, oh, I can't wait to see him. I was like, I might not be his patient anymore by the time we have that conversation. So I hang up. I was pissed. Jay comes in the room and he goes, were you on the phone with the doctor? And I said, yeah. And he goes, yeah, they called me this afternoon. He's like, they have to reschedule because he needs to learn the phones. And I said, yeah, the phones he's never going to use. And then I said, when's your appointment? I said, did you reschedule? And he goes, yeah.
May 13th.
And I said, when's your appointment? He goes, April 8th, 18th. I said, you got an appointment for April? He goes, yeah, when's your appointment? I said, May 5th. He goes, wow, they're making you wait, huh? I saw Tina last night. Hi, Tina. I told her this whole story, and she goes, I bet if you hadn't made the crack about the phones, you would have got in April.
You'd be very difficult to add that to your profile. This patient is very difficult.
I said, you know what? Maybe. But I think that's a stupid reason to have to reschedule your patients because you need to learn how to use a phone
Ask Jay if he can switch.
that you're never going to use. No, Jay needs to go.
Oh.
Yeah.
He needs to go.
No.
I've had it.
The thing that irritates me is he and I need to have a similar conversation with the doctor, and I'm kind of pissed off that he'll have a resolution probably before I will.
Darn.
Sounds definite now.
Oh, God.
Sorry, Tara.
It was a very irritating day. And then my head hurt half the day Monday, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I was wicked uncomfortable. And
Is it all healed up?
well, not really. I mean, it's not bleeding or anything.
That's good.
Obviously.
It's still kind of sore, which kind of irritates me a little bit because I'm like, it really shouldn't be sore like 5 days out.
Does it bother you while sleeping?
You know what? The pressure of like putting my head on the pillow annoys it.
Mhm.
But other than that, I mean,
Ow.
it's not.
Ow.
Yeah,
Ow.
it's like that thing
Quit it.
It's like that thing in The Simpsons. Ow, quit it. Ow,
What's
quit
this?
it. Ow, quit it.
Our nest egg. Bart.
Anyways,
Wow. That was a.
That was Monday.
That was just one day.
That was Monday.
So what'd you do Tuesday for your doctor's appointment?
I worked.
You didn't get pranked?
No.
You pull any pranks?
No, I don't do
How
that.
about you? No pranks?
No.
Okay. Me neither.
I figured since you were asking about it,
No, I
that
never
something
did.
happened to you.
No.
I was going to say,
It's another day
uh-oh,
at work.
who got you?
Nobody.
And as a matter of fact, I tried not to go on the internet either because I figured people were going to be posting stupid stuff and I'd be like, oh my God, really? And forget that it's April 1st.
Was it one of those days that you sent me a video of a Volkswagen Beetle that came in?
Yeah, that's real.
He's like, oh yeah, that's
I put
real.
custom rims on a Beetle. They were flower rims, white rims with like a flower pattern with a yellow center cap on a
That was
mint green Volkswagen Beetle.
that was a
Came
very
Came out
trippy,
pretty nice.
very trippy car.
I know. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And like they had like a flower sticker on the car that matched the rims.
Wow,
I was like,
That's
some
crazy.
old lady. She's like, I love my Beetle.
As long as,
Little convertible.
as long as it didn't have those eyelashes on the front.
That's
I
probably
can't
her
stand
next mod.
hey.
Speaking of mods,
Yes, sir.
I noticed you have like I noticed the one thing. I guess I missed something else. You have like little racing slashes
Yeah,
on your
I've,
fenders.
I have the fender stripes
Yeah,
on the thing because
nice.
I was toying around with doing the hood
Sticker.
decal,
Right.
and I wanted it like the full
Just like
length.
a stamp.
Yeah, I wanted it like the full length of the hood because a lot of people do them and they just do it like halfway.
Right.
And I wanted the full length. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, I really like that my car is orange. I was like, I don't want to start like putting too much black on it.
Right.
I was trying to get like a nice mix. So then I realized in one of the cross track groups I'm in, somebody was like, "Oh, you should do fender stripes. They look really good."
Yeah, they do.
So they sent me a thing, and I looked at it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that does."
Now,
look,
how did you line
that
it up?
does look good. Oh, dude.
'Cause they look great. Like they match perfectly. I'm like, damn, she did good.
Oh.
She like laser measurements.
That was I did one fender,
Alright.
and then I had to put markers, like sitting on the hood of like where it ended and began.
Right.
And then I went to the other side and tried really hard to just line it up.
Eyeballed it.
Oh yeah, it sucked. It sucked. I hate doing stickers, and it's like a sticker.
Okay. You have to like clean it and then like.
Yeah, I wiped the area down, and then I did the sticker thing, and and I had to cut it to fit it too. So that was a pain in the ass and then I had a couple bubbles, and I'm like, no bubbles, none. So that was
That's good.
that sucked. And the other thing that I did that you didn't notice
Oh.
was I did black overlays on the handles, the car door handles. So the handles are black now.
Oh.
Nice.
And then I did an insert on the door. What do they call that? The cup of the door.
Where your hand goes.
Yeah, those are black too.
Oh, nice.
I did
want to do that
these-
for mine because I got scratches.
Yeah,
Just a little.
and that's that. And there's a guy in the UK, and he does like custom. What do they call that? Sun strip at the top of the windshield.
Yep.
He does custom decals for that.
Nice.
And he's got one all ready to go. He's just waiting for me to send him money. I was like, you're gonna have to wait, you're gonna have to give me a couple weeks to get the.
You're
It's
gonna
not a lot of money, but it's just
Tell
more
us what
money.
it is, or you're gonna like surprise us.
Huh?
You're gonna tell us what it is. You're gonna say, like wait.
Oh,
till-
it just says Subaru, and
Oh,
there's
okay.
like a little pattern on it, like a hexagon kind of pattern.
Cool.
It's not a ton of money, but it's just more money than I want to be spending right now. So I'm like, that's gonna have to wait, and then that'll be like the
That's
last.
a 2-person job.
Yeah, that's gonna be a bitch, and that's gonna be like the last exterior mod that I'm doing.
Really?
Aside from underneath the hood, I want to still do like
The covers.
the covers for stuff. I have the paint. I'm all ready to go. I'm just waiting on a nice day.
Not tomorrow.
No, it's supposed to be raining tomorrow.
Of course, our days off.
Yeah. Today,
Yes.
speaking of tomorrow, today,
Today, speaking of tomorrow,
I did all that stuff on my lunch break.
Really?
Yeah, I got it all done on my lunch break, which is a miracle.
Wow.
And then today on my lunch break, I realized how nice it was. And I'm like, oh, I should do something outside.
Go for a walk.
Well, I try to go for a walk on my lunch now, but I realized that I needed to do. I had a landscaping thing I needed to do, so I laid down. They call it like landscaping cloth or whatever, and it's like a little tarp, and I put it out in the front.
Yeah, so
Front of the house.
black like.
Yeah, and then tomorrow morning I'm gonna get up and go get some mulch and then lay the mulch down, and then that's gonna be. I'm not
What
like
color mulch?
I don't know yet. I don't know, but I'm
They
not
got
like
they got so like brown, red, black. Like,
Yeah.
what the-
I'm not like maybe brown. I'm not like super into like landscaping stuff, so that's gonna be all that I do, aside from occasional mowing. I told Jay, I'm like, because the tree we have out back, there's like just a whole thing of just sticks and stuff.
Now,
I was
did you
like,
mulch last year?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
The problem,
Because Vanessa mulches, but like, where does it go?
I have no idea.
Every year you have to redo it again. Like, where the does it go?
It's like it washes away.
I know.
You're like, what the heck?
Today we got 15 bags today,
You got
At
15 bags of
15,
mulch?
yeah.
Wow, dude.
and that was just half. She gets 15 more on Sunday.
Wow, how big does she have like a huge front yard
She
or
got a
something?
big, huge front and back, side, and
I'm
Big as her backyard.
yeah,
I'm getting
good
like
size.
I'm getting like 9 bags.
Damn,
And that's gonna be like all I need. I hope.
I barely fit the 15 in my truck. It's like, damn. If you wanted to go all 30 today, I'm like, it ain't gonna fit.
This ain't gonna
And like the little cart they give you, it wasn't like trying to push it with the 15. I was like struggling. I'm like,
Oh
it ain't
jeez.
gonna we're the 30.
Yeah. Jay
She got red
Oh, okay.
mulch.
Okay. I mean, I don't know.
What does it do?
Huh?
What does the mulch do?
It just looks nice.
That's it.
That's its only function. It just looks nice.
It doesn't have it protects the plants or.
I don't think it
know.
does that.
I thought it was supposed to stop weeds, but it
Well, you
doesn't.
need the landscaping
Tarp.
down to protect it from the weeds and stuff.
Oh, I think you
'Cause
just use weed killer.
Well, I guess you can.
Some Roundup.
Oh,
Yes.
so I mean, since we're on topic,
Yeah.
so I was outside and I was doing all that stuff, right?
Today.
Yeah, on my lunch break. That was my lunch break today.
Yeah.
So I
A
went
lot
to
better
do
than Monday.
Yeah. So I went to do the landscape tarp thing around the light post that I have.
It's like a liner.
Yeah. And I really wasn't looking forward to that because it's round and the tarp thing is square. So I'm like, this is going to be a bitch just to figure out. But when I went to go do it, I realized that at the bottom of the light post, there's like, from when it was installed, there's this little piece. And I was like, oh, I think that's the bottom of the light post. And then I realized I was seeing the bottom of the light post because something had burrowed underneath.
Uh-oh.
And at first, I was like, oh, I hope it's not a snake. I'll never be seen again.
Critters.
And then I thought, well, it's too big a hole for a snake.
Okay.
So I finish,
Snakes are pretty.
right? And I stake all the things down. I have these little metal, U stake things, and
Okay.
everything's all fastened down, so it's not going to fly away in the middle of the night.
Alright.
So Jay came home and he's like, hey, I saw the front. It looks really good. And I said, oh, thanks. It'll look better when there's mulch and you won't be seeing the tarp.
Right.
And then I told him about the hole and he goes, what do you think it is? And I said, I don't
He's
know.
all scared.
And I said, I don't know, but I'll tell you this. I hope it's something fuzzy and not something slimy. And he goes, you better hope it's something fuzzy.
Groundhog.
Like a bunny. I'll accept a rabbit, like a bunny. If it's any kind of like, I don't know what else would be slimy aside from a snake, but Jesus,
I don't know.
I was freaking out. And then I said, well, whatever it is, he's trapped now because I fastened
Could be a
this thing
she.
down. That's true too. I don't mean to be sexist. Whatever it is, it's trapped now. And then Jay goes, well, whatever it is, if they burrowed that hole, they can burrow somewhere else. Get out.
True. I identify as a snake.
I was just like, oh, I hope it's fuzzy and not slimy. Oh, God.
Well,
Pass out.
Out here, you've had bunnies, you had groundhog or gopher or something like that.
Gopher.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Might be
Groundhog
wrong.
and gopher.
I think they're the same.
Me too.
They're cousins. We're late cousins.
Identical cousins.
Fuzzy cousins.
Fuzzy cousins.
Jesus. I wasn't happy though. I was like, oh, what is this now? I should have taken a photo of it before I,
We have evidence.
trapped him in. But it was a good size hole. So I was like, whatever it is, he's a chubster.
So it can't be a snake.
No, I hope not.
I think a
If
snake
it,
would make
if
a
it is,
hole.
I'm in a lot of trouble.
Mole.
Yeah, I
They
guess.
dig holes.
Do we have moles around here? I don't know if I've ever seen a mole.
I haven't seen one since you lived here now.
Hmm.
They don't like the sun.
I feel like they're a nocturnal creature. Moles.
Oh.
Hmm. Was last week the week we had 2 episodes? We had 2 videos? Or was that the week
Week
prior?
before.
The week
Prior.
before? Okay. I was just sitting there like,
473.2.
because I was sitting there thinking, I was just sitting there thinking, we should probably explain why we had 2 videos. No,
That's got 2.5K views.
We had a computer glitch.
the computer just died in the middle of the recording. It happens, unfortunately.
Got a lot of views.
It did. I was surprised, honestly, because I was like, people would probably only watch one and not both.
I can watch one, but I'm not gonna watch both.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of time. Why am I going to watch both?
It's like, ooh, 11 minutes. That's quick.
That's quick.
11 minutes.
I have a few. I have a few minutes.
You ever win a radio contest? Like Caller 10 wins whatever,
No.
Sean?
No, not that way.
Not that way.
Not that way.
What other way was there, Sean?
Remember back in the day when I tell you that I used to always call in for lately?
Yeah.
And I knew every DJ that was working on 94.5.
Yeah.
DJ Romeo?
Do you know the names of the DJs still?
I just remember the one that I spoke to about the thing that I was given.
Oh, who's?
Okay.
Deidre DeGata.
Oh, okay.
And she was working 10 at night to 2 in the morning.
Jesus.
Because that was the time frame that I called.
Somebody got the bad shift.
I called to ask for lately.
Yeah.
And then I ended up talking to her for about 10 minutes. So she must have been bored other than putting songs
Probably.
on. And then she asked me, "Oh, do you want 2 tickets to go see Rush Hour?" I said, "Sure."
Oh, nice.
So she put me down for sending them out. Thing that sucks is I got them the day after I was supposed to go see it.
That sucks.
I was supposed to get them like a day or 2 later, and then I got them the day after.
Oh.
It was tickets for like one certain day
Ah,
that I can go to any theater and watch it.
nice.
Did you complain? I would have complained.
No,
I can't use these.
She sounded hot, and I was talking to her. We're kind of
She
like
probably
friends.
Free
isn't.
tickets.
She probably isn't.
She probably wasn't the one that sent them out.
You've got a great face for radio.
I won concert tickets once.
Really?
Off of 94 point.
Wow.
It was the back to school jam.
Ooh, who was involved
It
in
was
that?
SWV, Keith Sweat, and like a bunch of
Jeez.
artists back then that were popular.
I like some of his songs, but he just sounds like he's whining. That's why I can't stand some of like the way he sings. I can't stand.
It's a good show. Went by myself.
All right. No, I've never won anything.
No.
No. I've been on the radio a lot.
Your call number 7. Damn it.
I had myself on a cassette tape asking for lately.
Do you?
Friday nights when they had a certain
Jeez.
jam show on 94.5 that was being broadcast from somewhere in Arizona, which
Yeah.
I thought was weird. I called in to ask for it, and the guy said, "All right, cool, I'll play it for you, but do you want me to put you on the radio asking for it?" I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. So it's like,
Shout out on the radio.
So he just put me on hold for a second, and then he said something on the radio, and then he acted like I was the next caller, and he put me on, and I asked for lately.
Mm.
I got myself on a cassette tape. Like I recorded myself that night, so I still have it.
Wow, the ego on
I've been on there
Sean.
twice.
Oh. Huh?
I've been on there
That's
twice
me on
asking
the
for it.
radio.
Really?
Yep.
Jeez. No.
Sean's famous now.
And before he told me he was gonna hit record and everything, I'm like, "Can you just play the whole song from the beginning to the end, please?"
Don't
Sure,
cut
no
it
problem.
off. What's that called when they talk before and after?
They call it talking to the post.
Talking to the post.
To the post. That's where they talk right up until
The song's about to start.
song's about to start. Yeah.
In this case, even though he said he would do it for me,
Still didn't do it.
me and him are saying bye as the song's starting.
Oh, Sean's like, you've lied to me already.
Like the first 3 or 4 seconds of the music part of it,
Yeah.
before the song's like the first verse.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
He still played it from the very beginning, which a lot of them didn't. They'd always start like 10 seconds into it.
Mm.
And yes, I remember
Well,
this shit.
They don't. I mean, they like the radio edits. You know. I mean, the longer the song, you're not getting in any ads.
Damn.
You know.
Fuck
Gotta
ads. I want my song.
Gotta get those ads in.
Like Bohemian Rhapsody.
This was the one version that
It's
wasn't
so
put in
long.
the stores for me.
I never got to do because Jay used to work at a bunch of radio stations. I never got to do like, hey, this song coming up. I never got to do that stuff.
Aw.
But I've called football games, and I did color commentary for parades. And stuff.
On the next
Look at the
floor, we
march.
got Santa Claus.
Look at that drunk
Hey,
asshole on the
kids.
side.
I interviewed. No, I got to interview. There's this famous photo after I think it was World War I of the sailor, and he's kissing the nurse in Times Square.
Yeah.
I interviewed that guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he still married to her?
No, he didn't even know who she was.
It was some broad.
I mean, that's the vibe this guy was giving. He goes, I just saw this woman. And I was like, oh, and she was
Hey, you come here.
probably thrilled you kissed her.
I saved the country. Come here.
Back then, you didn't get smacked for it.
He should have probably been smacked for it. I mean,
The story behind the most famous photo.
I'm
I
not
didn't
trying
even
to
know
I'm not
that.
trying to disrespect a veteran, but geez, how about a little may I?
Mother, may I?
How about a little may I? Consent is a very big thing.
Did you know that today is opening day for the Red Sox
Is it?
at Fenway Park?
No, I care just as much as I did last year.
Maybe they'll go all the way this year.
We were gonna watch them in the office, but my coworker couldn't get the Roku to.
Oh, you guys got a Roku in your office?
Me too.
Yeah, almost
Wow.
every room in the station has a TV.
Oh, come on. All I have
I
is
put
my
the podcast on my work
all
sometimes.
all I have is my phone. My poor phone.
People are like,
Well,
is that you?
Well, my other
That's me.
coworkers put it on the TV so we could watch the Karen Reed thing.
I want to go to a Patriots game, but before the season. So
Oh, the
in
preseason
August.
game?
Yeah, could be cheaper. I've never been to a Patriots
I've been
game.
to one.
It is cheaper, and you'll probably
They'll
see,
probably win.
you'll probably see there's just as big a chance as them winning in preseason.
Yeah.
I've been
I don't even
to,
know who the fucking quarterback is.
You know what's funny is the only Patriots games I've been to are ones they were playing the Giants.
Really?
You were that one fan. Go Giants!
Now, did you have good seats or just wherever?
The last one I went to was a couple years ago, and we were like on the 50.
Back when
like-
Brady was playing.
Yeah. Was he? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to think about it. I'm sorry.
It was 2001, 2002 that he came.
And then
That's what she said.
no, it was just a couple years ago. So it must have been his last season before he left. And
Maybe
we were
Gronk.
I don't know, like 10 rows up on the 50, something like that.
Nice.
Bad. Now, who won?
The Patriots won. And I went
Now, that was Eli was the quarterback too?
no.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So it was Eli versus
Was it Eli?
Brady?
I'm trying to remember now. Jesus.
He's a better pan.
I don't
He's a
know.
better Manning.
I don't know about
That was
that.
preseason.
I don't know
So
about
it
that.
didn't count.
No, it was
I'll
regular
watch
season.
Eli
Oh,
anytime
was.
over
Yeah.
Peyton.
It was regular season. Jay got me tickets for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
And he got the tickets through
Ticketmaster.
my nephew's
He went to Filene's.
my nephew's uncle. I'm sorry, not my nephew's uncle. My nephew's wife's uncle
The scalper that we were
Alright.
talking about earlier.
has season tickets.
Really?
And she asked him if she could have the season tickets, if she could buy the season tickets for that game.
One game, yeah.
Because I'm a Giants fan. And he was like, yeah. So I don't know what what the transaction, financial transaction was. But they got 2 tickets, and I went with my nephew because Jay didn't want to go.
Probably had a ham radio thing.
So I went with
Be there.
her husband,
Nice.
and I had this car. So it was anywhere around 2019, 2020.
Oh, before COVID.
Yeah. And I had a red hoodie on. And we went.
Giants hoodie?
It wasn't a Giants hoodie. It was just a red
She
hoodie.
didn't want to get jumped.
But I had a Giants shirt on under
Get her!
it.
It could have been Patriots. Patriots use red.
And I probably had a Giants hat on. And he was like, He goes, this isn't going to work out. And I said, it's just a hat. It's just a hat. Nobody's going to. And I didn't. I mean, I got some shit, but it wasn't.
Nice hat.
I mean, nobody was like threatening me or anything. The funny thing is that I've been to a game at Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
And even wearing Giant stuff, but I stepped out of a Massachusetts car and everybody was like, "Oh, you're brave coming here." Ooh. And it was the Giants versus the Patriots. It was the game where the Patriots had been undefeated.
Ah.
They were going on
17-0.
They were going on that undefeated season, and they ended up winning. But I was like, "Oh, damn!" But I mean, they almost lost. And people are like, "Oh, you're rooting for," and I was like, "I'm a Giants fan, man. Just don't judge me by the plate.
Judge me by the hat.
Don't judge me by the plate. I'm here for you."
Here for deals.
I was like, but
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, someday.
So preseason's cheaper. I mean, the thing about
And
it
the weather's
is,
good too.
yeah. The thing about it is, the starters. Well, the first string guys only play the first 2. What do you call that? The first 2 quarters, and then they put in the second string guys. So you'll be seeing a lot of like no name players, so to speak.
Michael Smith.
Oh man, the Giants they signed Russell Wilson, who used to play for Seattle, and then they signed.
He got a famous wife.
Who's that guy? Is it Jameis Winston?
No
I
idea.
think his name is. He used to play for
Tampa Bay.
the Seminoles.
Yes. Then
They signed
he got
him.
picked up with Tampa Bay
Really?
after that.
Now he's in New York. I was like, he's I don't think he's going to be the main. I mean, it's probably going to be Russell Wilson as the main, and he's probably going to be the backup.
I never know.
But I said, well, I'll take, I mean, if he's, if he can get the ball to somebody, I'll take what I can get at this point.
He was awesome when he was with Florida State.
Jesus.
And when he got to Tampa Bay, I heard he wasn't doing as great.
Ooh. I don't know what to say. Well, I'll be the judge of that, I guess.
I haven't seen him since.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yes.
Did we have a winner last week?
We did have a winner.
What?
Congratulations to Tina.
Oh.
She got, it was Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise.
Tina got Days of Thunder.
She did.
I'm going to have to talk to her. What are you doing watching a Tom
Robin's
Cruise?
racing.
What are you doing watching a Tom Cruise movie?
So she gets 1 gift card.
All right.
And
I just like Cocktail and Top Gun. That's it.
Oh, yeah. Top Gun. Val Kilmer passed away this
He
week.
did.
Yeah.
That's a segue.
He passed away on April 1st. I was like,
Yes,
damn.
he did.
That's a bad April Fool's
65.
joke.
Yeah. Well, he
From them, not you.
he died of pneumonia.
He wasn't the worst Batman, but he wasn't the best.
To me, he was the most boring.
He really was a boring Batman.
He was too serious.
I mean, I think George Clooney was probably the worst, but he was the best looking Batman.
He was more humorous than Val.
Yeah.
So this guy's a total wacko?
Yes.
So this week's movie quote is worth 1 gift card. Dunkin' Donuts. Comment the name of the movie on the YouTube video. First to correct to win. Sean has a gift card giveaway also. To enter his contest, go to the YouTube video, comment your name, and hashtag Sean, and you'll be entered for his contest. And we're going to pick a winner today. Drum roll, please.
Oh, shoot. I should have been doing the drum roll while you were
All
talking.
right.
My bad.
Who's it going to be?
I don't know.
Nail biter. And the winner is... Congratulations to...
Maya.
Maya! You win 1 gift card.
Oh,
Courtesy
my
of
goodness.
Sean.
There we go.
And if you get the movie quote, you'll win 2.
I was just letting it go.
All right. Ready for the quote?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is it true if you don't use it, you lose it? Comment below on YouTube.
Yes.
I'm going to need some help with that one.
Come on.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time. Before I send it down the table, here is your fun fact of the week. The date on which Easter falls is based on the moon. It's always on the Sunday after the first full moon of the spring equinox. If the first full moon happens to be on a Sunday, then Easter is celebrated the following Sunday.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
It is a fun fact.
All right.
I don't lie.
No, you don't. Have a great weekend. Twinkle, twinkle, baby. Twinkle, twinkle.
Look at everything. Peace.